Yay. Okay. Miller is going to show us how to use Edpuzzle. Everybody ready?
What's Edpuzzle?
Great question.
Edpuzzle is an education technology tool that allows you to take videos and put questions directly in them. So you can set it up to where your students can't skip. And some of the good things about this is it's going to kind of reinforce accountability. So this is going to, you're going to be able to track how long your kids are watching. You're going to be able to assess them right away. It's going to engage students, so they have to actually work with the video. They can't just play it and zone out. There, you can set up questions that they have to answer. They can't skip ahead. And it has a lot of resources you can bring in, so you can do YouTube, crash course, or you can make your own videos. So this is a training just kind of showing some of the benefits of Edpuzzle and how to integrate it into Schoology and some other aspects of it.
One of the things that's really cool is because of all this COVID-19, well, actually COVID-19 is bad, but it's cool because we've been given pro access to Edpuzzle. Normally we only are able to have 20 videos in our account at a time. But because of this, we've been granted because of the pandemic and our need for it, we've been granted pro access temporarily by Edpuzzle. So that's really cool. Hopefully next year we can get permanently pro. That would be awesome because it's a really great resource, especially if you're absent or if we have to do more long-term digital learning. But
what are some differences? I know you've used Edpuzzle throughout the school year. What are some differences that you notice outside of just the amount of videos that we can use now in Edpuzzle since we have pro?
What do you mean?
Other than the amount of videos that we can now record, are there any other differences between the pro version?
Not that I know of. That was the main thing, was just a limit on how much content we could have. I don't know what I actually don't know what other benefits there are, but that's a good question. You'll look into that.
Oh.
This is what it looks like when you sign in. You'll just click login. I'm a teacher, you're not a student. I always sign in with Google, but make sure you're signed in with your school email. Don't be signed into your personal email when you do this, because if you do, then you're not going to get the perks of being in Aldine ISD. So I'm clicking on my school email, signing in. Now, one of those perks I was talking about is that you're automatically, if you sign in with your school email, you're connected to our campus, and you can see other teachers and their content from our campus and what they've been creating. So if you have a coworker in the world geography department, like we do, we can collaborate and share content. So like, let's say I'm interested in Miss Regis's video, about the Great Barrier Reef. I could click on this and see what she's created, and I can look at her questions by clicking on them here and see what she's written. I can skip it, rewatch it. You also have that option for students when you're building it, but we'll get back to that later. And then I can go through, look at that video. If I like it, then I can, where's my scroll down bar? Hold on, technical difficulties. So I'm gonna click on this, there it is. So I can copy that to my own content. I can edit it, which I think editing makes your own copy already, and then you're just editing the questions. So say you like what Miss Regis has, but you have CT or CTM. So instead of having all those short answer responses, you could go in and change it to multiple choice, or you can limit the number of multiple choice questions. If say she had 4 choices and you have a CT kid who only can have 2, or CTM, then you can change that by editing. So I'm gonna copy hers, and it has now been copied to my content. So I'm gonna click on watch so I can see it. Now it has my name on it right here. And I can watch this video, and I'll see what she's put. If I want to skip ahead a little bit to the question, then I can see that right here. Now, like I said earlier, we might want to edit this. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to click on edit. Well, if I do that, it'll actually, hold on.
Ms. Miller, can you real quick explain what the benefits of using Edpuzzle in your classroom are?
Yeah, I could totally do that. Let me go to my content, and I'll get an example video real quick.
And can you also go over where the questions come from?
Yeah, so the questions, when I make an Edpuzzle, usually I create them myself, but if I'm copying it from someone else, usually I'll either use their questions or just modify them based on what I feel like is important for my students to know, or maybe if I have a ELL kid, I might add like some questions that focus on vocabulary at the beginning. So one of the ones I'm about to show right now is an example. I noticed that the word pilgrimage was used. So I know that that's not explained in the video. So right here, I'm having them pause to go and Google that word so that they know what pilgrimage means, or use context clues from the video. So this was added specifically for my ELLs. So I'll press play. Oops. So I'll click rewatch.
It was established by the founder of Sikhism 500 years ago. It's the place where he spent the last years of his life, and it is the second holiest place in Sikhism.
So it'll go through that, and it'll talk about the pilgrimage that the Sikhs are supposed to make. And then they may not know what that means, so I'm encouraging them to stop and go and Google that. I've also added English and Spanish translations so that it could help my ELL kids if I'm not there with them. So that's one perk. The other benefit, like I said earlier, is being able to modify for your CT and CTM kiddos. And other benefits include being able to, if you wanted to, you can record a lecture. There's a teacher I actually use sometimes. He records his lectures with videos and graphics involved and then has questions. So it's formative assessment as you're going through the lesson. So if you, say, are on pregnancy leave or long-term leave from school and you want to make sure they're getting the content, you could record a video of yourself with visuals and graphics of things you're explaining or video clips, and then import that in there with questions as they go. And so that way you can see how far they've gone. Yes, Ms. Dawson?
What types of questions are used? Are these just multiple choice questions? Are they all open-ended? What kind of assessment choices do you have?
So let's go ahead and build one. So, or edit one, I should say. So let's say I want to edit this Edpuzzle. You can cut it and make it shorter. You can do a voiceover. So say you want to point something out specifically during the video, you can talk during the video and start recording. But the questions, which Ms. Dawson is asking about, they have multiple choice, open-ended, or notes. So if you want to add a little note from yourself of something you want them to pay attention to, you can put that there. If you want to do multiple choice, you can type it here. There's different formatting options, and you can add, I think, up to 4 answers, maybe more. Oh, more than that. Actually, I've never checked to see how many you can add. It looks like right now it's an unlimited number of answer choices if you want. So you can do multiple choice, you can do short answer. Those are both options.
Miller,
Then, yeah.
can you show really quick how to get a video like off of YouTube and put it into Edpuzzle?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to, and it automatically saves, by the way. So later I'm going to have to delete this, or I'm going to just press cancel so it doesn't do that question. But you click finish when you're done. But to get content off YouTube or somewhere else, so like I just did, you can either copy it from one of your coworkers, you can search for topics, or you can use Edpuzzle videos that are already created, YouTube, Khan Academy, National Geographic, TED Talks. All these different apps are in Edpuzzle, including Crash Course, a lot of things that are really popular. You can use all of those channels. One of the things I do, so say I found a video on YouTube that I liked. So here we go. So like, let's say I want this video about—
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson.
not the ad, but let's say I want this video about what if Antarctica melted. I could just click share, copy that URL, and then paste it in right here. And it's going to pull up that exact video right there. So if you want something from YouTube and you looked for it on YouTube and found it there, all you need to do is copy the URL. You can cut it, voice over questions right there. Now,
so
if you
how do I decide, so like, let's say I want to add a question at 1 minute. How do I add a question at 1 minute?
So
like
right
1 minute into
here.
the video, they say something, I want to add a question.
Yep. So I'm going to click play.
This
I'm
is
on the
Antarctica.
questions
Today.
tab. That's important. So you can't add questions from the cut tab or the voiceover tab. You need to be on questions. I press play, watch. Usually what I do is I watch the video, and as I go, I add the questions. But you can also just click and drag this little thing right here to about 1 minute. And once you're there, oh, that's about 1:02, but close enough. Then you just click on this right here, and then you can type in your question. And then you have to save it at 1 minute. If you click play before clicking save, then it's going to be wherever you put it. Now, let's say, hang on, I'm just going to put ABCD, ABC, and you can also choose more than one correct answer. So if you do that, usually what I do is I tell the kids in the question, hey, by the way, there's 2 correct answers or there's 3 correct answers. So you can set that in there as well. So I'm going to click save.
In square.
So now it's right there and it shows you what it would look like for the students. And you'll click continue.
Kilometers.
Now let's say you don't like where that question is. You can click and drag it and move it somewhere else. So if you decide, it makes more sense to put that over here, or you accidentally click play before saving, you can still move your question around. So you don't have to redo it.
Can I ask about the cut feature? Because I was having trouble with that the other day.
Yeah. So what would you like to know?
Like I was trying to cut the very end of a video where it was just a bunch of dead, air. And
Yeah.
I tried to do it and save it, but it wasn't letting me like save that change.
Like this would occur.
So what you do is you click these ends right here. So like, let's say I don't want any of that. Then I would click, actually, I think I just click finish from there. So we cut it at 6:28. So that's the new time. So if I click finish, then it's going to save it right there. And my video now stops at 6:28. So if you don't click finish, it's not going to save.
How do I connect with other teachers in my department once we've all set up our Edpuzzle accounts?
So if I go to content, I can click on Aldi 9th grade school. And it says 16 teachers in Aldi 9th grade school. And I can see everybody who is already connected on here. And if you want, you can, whoops. Oh, nope. Only people who have verified their account show up on this list. So these are the only people we have from our campus that are listed. And this is all subject areas. Maybe you want just history, social studies. Now we can see everybody in our department.
Ms. Miller, can you click on that missing someone?
Nothing happens. It's just telling you if you don't see someone there, they need to create an account. That's why it says only teachers who verified their account show up in this list. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like you can invite people, but if you send them a link to edpuzzle.com, they can create an account by just logging Google. But it has to be their school email.
Now, if I created something and I wanted to share that with the rest of my department, how would I go about doing that?
All right, so let me exit out of here. So I'm gonna go again to content. I want my content. And let's say I want to share this right here. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. Okay, so you can actually, if you are sharing it with other coworkers, you copy this link right here. If you click assign, that goes to your students. You want to click on this link. So if I Control C and copy that, and then
just to be clear, I'm copying the browser link.
The browser link. Yeah, sorry. Just in case you can't see, it is the browser link. So I'm going to open a new window. This is on incognito. So I'm going to go to a new window. So it's not connected to my Google, my school Google. This is my personal Google. If I paste that link, it's still going to work. It's going to show me that page. And so if I'm another teacher, I can just, like we said earlier, if you were looking at this, I don't have an Edpuzzle on my personal email, so it doesn't show it. But you could duplicate or copy this over to your own content like I did.
Okay, what is that link at the bottom right side where it says share? What is that?
So if I want to share this, I believe it's the same exact, this right here is the same exact link.
Yeah.
But this right here is an embed code, which we'll get into later on how you can use that to embed it in Schoology.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
So Miss Miller, do I need to make a different Edpuzzle for each of my classes? Like where it says duplicate, do I need to duplicate it 5 times for each class?
Nope. If you wanted, so this is, say, if you wanted to modify, make a different version for CT or CTM or ELLs. So say you've got a version for your regular kiddos, or maybe you want to modify it for your pre-AP kids and you want to do higher order thinking questions or something like that. You could duplicate it and still have the foundation of what you had before and then go in and edit. So say you want the same questions but 2 answer choices instead of 4 for CTM. Or say you want more short answers rather than multiple choice answers for pre-AP, then you can duplicate it and do different versions for different types of students.
Hey, I want to show really quick what Schoology looks like when you integrate it with Schoology. Okay, so this is a class that doesn't have any students in it. It's just a section that I have because it's like a GT section on my class. So I'm going to go ahead and add a folder, and I'll call it puzzle example. And I'm not going to worry about any of this other stuff, but I'll go ahead and add it, and then I'm going to open the folder, whatever folder you have. So if you're wanting to put it in a specific unit, you would click that folder. And then I've already gone through and set up through adding the external tool drive and then inputting the codes into my course. All of that stuff has already been done. So when I click on Edpuzzle, I haven't done that yet. Hold on really quick.
Oh, but then now they can watch you do it.
So I haven't added, yeah, that's true. I haven't added the external tool codes yet. So I'm gonna need to do that on this course. And that's because I don't use this course. So once you click there and then you click on Edpuzzle, it's gonna ask for the consumer key and the shared secret. I'm gonna go to myself. I'm gonna go to school, LMS, which is just what you're using. And then the consumer key. And the shared secret.
I like that name.
Shared secret. You don't need to set any custom parameters, so I'm just going to click submit, and then it says you've successfully configured Edpuzzle. So if I go back to this course, Edpuzzle example, I click add materials and then Edpuzzle. You'll be able to assign videos to your students. So it says I'm about to create a class in Edpuzzle. So again, if you already have a Google Classroom class, you don't want to do this unless you want to switch over to Schoology integration. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to let your kids know that it's going to be through Schoology from now on and not through Google Classroom. For this, it's going to create a class. That's fine for me because I don't have a Google Classroom. And again, this doesn't have any kids in it, so that's okay. I'm going to click a video that I want to give them. So I'm going to click this one. Just so you know, this is how long the video is, and this is how many questions are on the video. So it contains 5 questions / notes. This one is 8. This one's 11. So just in case you're wondering what that is. I can watch it. And when I click watch, it's going to give me all of this information. Just scroll down and click assign. This is where you click prevent skipping or don't prevent skipping. So if I want them to not be able to skip a question, so when they watch the video they have to answer the question, I'll just click that. Turn on closed captionings would be right here. So if I want them to be able to read, I could click that as well. So I'll just leave that on. And then you just click assign. Once that's done, it's already in your Schoology. So when I click on this link, it's going to pull up in Schoology.
Now, I have a question. And
Yes.
I'm going to copy this assignment to the rest of my courses. I don't have to worry about going in and reduplicating. I just can just copy from this one assignment into my other courses, and it generates a code for each of them, correct?
My experience has been when I copied it from one course. So the first time I set this up, I set it up in my 2A class, and then I copied it to all my other ones. My experience was that students in the other classes could not access that Edpuzzle.
Exactly.
So I had to go in and recreate that assignment in each one. But going through and clicking it as the external tool, it was really easy to do.
Yes.
Okay, so it's best to use the external tool.
Yes, as long as you're clicking up here and you're using this external tool, you can't, so exactly what Ms. Clemens just said, I can't go over here and copy this to all of the other courses because it still has a code that's specific to this class in Schoology. So it's the same as Google Classroom in that way, that they have specific codes. And even if I copy it to my other classes, it still copies that code because that's just how the computer works. But all you have to do for another course would just be add materials, add the Edpuzzle again, and then literally all I have to do is click the video.
Okay.
So if you're copying whole folders, so let's say I wanted to copy all of East Asia's folder. So I'm gonna hit copy to courses, and then I would just click whatever course I wanted to copy it to. What I usually do after that is I go in where the Edpuzzles are in the whole folder that I just copied and just click edit on the link. So if I'm here and I open my, Edpuzzle, I would just edit it. So hold on, let me go back. So right here, you just click edit. And when you do that, it will let you update the link, or you can just delete it and add a new Edpuzzle right here, which is the fastest way. This is the way that you should do it. So usually what I would do is I would go and add materials. Let's say I wanted to add an Edpuzzle right here. And then I'm going to click assign. And then it will just create a new one, and then I would delete this old one.
Yeah.
And when you are adding things to Schoology, it's always going to add the new thing at the bottom. So that's how you can tell which one was the old one and which one is the new one. But if I did it that way, this one's now linked to this class, and if I copy this from another course, it's still linked to that other course. Does that make sense?
Yep. So for East Asia, we're going to go into economics. And then this is an example of what it looks like when it's posted. But the way I put an Edpuzzle in Schoology is I click add materials, and then, so there's two options. If you have never ever used Edpuzzle before and you have not yet synced your Google Classes to Edpuzzle, then you can just use this extension that says Edpuzzle, and it will automatically create a class in Schoology. But if you have already synced your Google Classroom to Edpuzzle, this won't work. So if you already are in Edpuzzle and all your classes are synced, do not click this button. Do not use that extension, because the kids won't get access. Because what happens when you click that button is it creates another class in Schoology, or another Schoology class the way it does with Google Classroom. So I did this, and I'll show you what it looks like on my Edpuzzle now. Is now I have all of my Google Classroom right here, and then on this down here, that's all of the Schoology classes. So it's created two classes for the same class, basically. So if you try to click that extension on Edpuzzle, it's automatically going to create a course, and it's going to a course from Schoology, and it's not going to work because Edpuzzle, the kids are going to be signed into their email, and so they're trying to get in their email on the Schoology link. So if you have it synced to your Google Classroom, do not click this button. If you do not have it synced to Google Classroom, then you can use this. If you've never used Edpuzzle before, then you can use this, and it's actually probably easier. The other option, if you've already synced your Google Classroom and you need them to log in through the Google, then you can click add a file or link or external tool, and you'll click link, and then you would go to your Edpuzzle, and you need to go to the specific class. So that class, I think, was 5B. I actually don't remember, but I click on that specific class. I'm going to click on the Edpuzzle I want, and then I'm going to click on share, and then I'm going to click large, and this is the embed code. You can either do that or you can do this. I usually do the embed code so that they can see it in Schoology. I copy that, and then I go to Schoology, and I will paste that URL here, and I'll put the title here. You can align it, and you click add, and it's going to look like this if you're doing the link instead of the Edpuzzle extension. So you have to do this for every single course that you have. You can't just do it for one and have all of them work. You have to go in and do this for each course. The codes are the same for all your courses, but you still have to go into each course and add that code for the Edpuzzle extension to work.
So this is exactly what they'll see. And then when I hit play,
big anniversary in China today.
Like
Subi today marks 40 years since the country's economy opened up to the rest of the world. A movement
it's
ultimately turned China into a global economic powerhouse, second in GDP only to the United States.
So it's now paused because there's a question. So if I look down here, what happened as a direct result of China opening up their economy to the rest of the world? So I could go ahead and click these answers and hit submit and then go through the whole thing and just see it like this student, Alexandra, is seeing it. Also, if you click on this little button, it won't pull it out like that. So it's like over at the side now. So I'm in my course. So I was in my course, and then I went ahead and I clicked my 2B class. And then in East Asia, I know I have an Edpuzzle in the political and economic one. So if I click on this Edpuzzle, because I've integrated with Schoology instead of with Google Classroom, it will actually pull up everybody who's watched it and who has started the video. So I have 3 kids who have started the video, and it tells you how far they are. And then anybody who's finished the video is going to have 100%. It doesn't have a grade for this because we haven't graded it. If it was a graded Edpuzzle, it would come up with the grade right here. If I click on Krista's, then it's going to show me what she actually got for, like, if it was graded, what her grade would have been. So she got 4 out of 5 correct. And it's going to tell you right here which ones she didn't answer. So she didn't answer the very last question. So she didn't watch the video to the last question and answer it. And I can see that there. And then you can see she clicked both of the right answers on this question. And then if I scroll down to the last question, she answered it, but it's a short answer. So I have to manually click that it was right. So this was asking the difference between a command economy and a market economy. A command economy bases their investment and prices on government. On the other hand, a market economy bases their investment and prices on competition between businesses. So that's correct. All I have to do is click this little green one right here. And then I can comment and say, like, good job or whatever. And then when I go back out now, so it should say 5 out of 5 right here. I can click next student, previous student. I'm still in Schoology though. So when you integrate it with Schoology, you can just grade stuff in Schoology. You don't have to go through Edpuzzle to grade things. And then if I go back out to this assignment where I can see everybody at once and I'm not like grading, it should have, if it is graded, it will have her grade right here now. So 100 out of 100. So it has an actual grade. And then this student has only answered, he's only watched 10% of the video right now. And that's probably because they can't go past a certain point if they don't answer the question. So there is an option in Edpuzzle where they can skip a question. You would do that if you wanted to let them go back and answer it later after they watch the full video. But what we do in our department is, you guys all know this, you go ahead and you add the question in and then you don't let them skip. Mm-hmm. So you'll have some kids who will watch only 10% or 20% of the video because they get to a question and they realize they can't skip and they weren't paying attention. And so they just like exit the assignment to do it later. So she turned hers in. It's going to have a timestamp of when they turned it in. If you click this, it will reset. So like if I want her to be able to do it over again. So if they got 1 out of 5 on their questions and I want them to be able to retry because they got a 20, you would just hit reset progress there. But all of this is through Schoology. So if you integrate it through Schoology, the plus side of that is it's all through Schoology. You don't ever, like, you will exit Edpuzzle to the Edpuzzle in order to input it into Schoology. But you could also do that through that add button. But everything that you grade and things like that are in Schoology. And then I have this grade right here. And then if I mark this assignment as graded in Schoology, it will automatically take the grades right here and put them into the Schoology gradebook.
Is it possible to remove your Google Classroom courses from Edpuzzle?
Can you show really quick how you would do that if somebody accidentally linked their Google Classroom? So you would just click classes and then
you go to my classes and then if
class
you
options.
want to delete this,
just class options.
Here
and you would just click delete class.
Yeah.
But Miss Dawson, you would have to make sure that it's the Google Classroom class and not the Schoology class that you're wanting to delete. So if you've added your Google Classroom because you didn't know you weren't supposed to, but you've never used Edpuzzle before, you'll want to just add Schoology. You won't want to add both.
But if you've already had it for a long time, like I have, and you don't want your students to lose the content that they've already worked on or that they have the extra credit opportunities that you already had in there, then you don't have to delete your Google Classroom. You just put it in through the link instead of through the Schoology extension.
Okay. Ms. Miller, if I wanted to use Edpuzzle in Nearpod, how would I do that? Because
Right,
I really enjoy using Nearpod.
I love Nearpod too. So for those of you who don't know, you can do Nearpod in Google Slides or Nearpod. I actually prefer it in Google Slides now. Ms. Clements introduced me to it and I'm loving it. But if you're doing it in Google Slides, you just go to add-ons, open Nearpod, open it, and this options will come up right here. I have some Edpuzzle videos built into mine. Let me find them already. This one right here, I think. So I put it as web content. Now, when I'm making a Nearpod to share with my department, I put the link that's up in the top of the web browser so that they can see it and log in with their own accounts and just copy it, like we said earlier. But if I'm making it for students, then what I do, and this is a bit tedious, I will admit, is I duplicate that Nearpod for each class, and I will put in the assignment link for each Edpuzzle in that Nearpod for each class. So it's unique to each one. Does that make sense so far? And I can show you guys real quick. Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go to this and I'm going to make a duplicate of it. Make a copy. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my copy. I'm gonna label this so I know which class it's for. And I'm gonna put that it's for my 2A class. The first version was my version for my department so that it's the general hyperlink in the web browser so that they can all see it. Because if you put your class assignment link, none of them will have access unless they're a part of that class. So I'm gonna put it's for my 2A class, and then I'm gonna go to my Edpuzzle and I'm gonna find my 2A class. And I'm going to go back to the 2A thing. This is the assignment, Antarctica's first scientific missions. So I'm gonna go to Edpuzzle and find that video. I actually don't think I've created this as an assignment yet, so they haven't done it for the kids, but we'll use Taoism instead. So what I would do is I would click on share assignment, and this is a link specific to the 2A class. And for this, I'm just putting a link. For Schoology, I embed it in Schoology, but for this, I just copy the link. And then I go back here and I need to click add-ons, Nearpod, open Nearpod. And this is a web content. So you'll log in with Google if you have a Nearpod account already. And I'm gonna scroll down to where it says web content down here in the bottom right corner. And I'll click on that and I will paste my URL. You can test the link and see where it takes you. But it takes you to the assignment for 2A class. It shows you the questions and they're gonna see it though inside their Nearpod instead of going to another thing. So we know the link works, we're gonna save it. And then that slide is gonna update and I'm going to say I want to save and go to Nearpod. Then I could go there. Or here, I'll actually do this one. So I'll click preview. And this is what it'll look like for the kids. There you go. So their assignment will be right here. They'll click to open it. And now they have their assignment right there in front of them. So it's all in one place. And then when they finish, they can close it and then move on to the next slide. Does that help?
Yes, just to be clear, the reason that you created the separate Nearpods for each class is because you're embedding the Edpuzzle, correct?
You're embedding a specific assignment because each class has its own assignment. If you give the link for your 4A class to your 2A class, they're not going to be able to log in because you're giving them an assignment from another class. It has to be the link for their classroom. And this goes for Schoology too. When you can't copy an Edpuzzle link from your 2A to your 4A to your 5A because like when you copy to folders, because when you do that, you're sending them to another class that they're not a part of.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have it set up to where I'm muted, and when you're in like the actual full screen, if you just hold down the space bar, you can talk like, and then it goes back to being muted. And that's what I was set on. But if I get out of full screen mode, it doesn't work. So,
That's cool.
so one thing I noticed is Blanchard, like you were going into each of your folders, but you can actually come here and you can edit and add in stuff without even getting into all the folders. So it saves you a little bit of clicking. If like when you want to go in and edit that that Nearpod or Edpuzzle or whatever you're adding in. So let me see. So like if I wanted to go in and change that Edpuzzle for each one, I could just come down here and I could hit the little plus button, and then I could click Edpuzzle and I could assign it right there without having to go into all of the folders. So saves you a little bit of hassle, because then it's like you don't have to go into each and every folder. But little bonus
I like that
for
too.
you guys.